Okay, we're here with Mike Etzel, the president of Beaux Frères Vineyards in the Willamette Valley. Mike, why don't you just tell us where your vineyards are located and what varieties you work with?
Sure. Thanks for having me. So we're in the North Willamette Valley. We're 45 minutes southwest of Portland, and we're specifically in the Ribbon Ridge sub-AVA, which is a tiny little toenail off of the Chehalem Mountains. We are a Pinot Noir house through and through, with a recent small inflection point. We're making now about 10% of our 9,000 case production of Chardonnay, which we're really excited about.
Awesome. If someone has never heard about Beaux Frères or the Willamette Valley before, what would the first thing you want them to know?
So the Willamette Valley, Pinot Noir as a growing region compared to the three other big, I think, well-known growing regions in the world that have this grape. The Sonoma Coast, the California Russian River area, Burgundy, New Zealand. The Willamette Valley is green and wild. It has an energy, both in the terroir and the cultural atmosphere, that is, I think, very exciting. And there's a potential for the wines that come from this region to show that energy and a little bit of wild, but a freshness. Yeah. And I think it's a little more buffered from some of the other growing regions in the world that have this grape, buffered from the climate extremes as of late. We're not immune, but we have some advantages being closer to the coast and having a little bit of the protection of our beautiful Douglas fir tree stands. Yeah.
Nice. And so you mentioned the regions outside of the Willamette Valley. What are some regions like those, maybe, or places where they're growing Pinot Noir that you draw inspiration from, you think about, you look to stylistically, maybe?
Burgundy. Yeah. It's
Nice.
it's a place that holds hundreds of years of generational cultural know-how and culture, and the translation that comes from this grape from Burgundy is inspirational, and it's where much of our passion comes from, my father and myself, and yeah.
Awesome. So moving on to question 4, what are some vintages of Beaux Frères that have stood out to you over the years, and why? This can be just anything that's memorable to you.
1994, which was a notorious hot, ripe vintage, but with my father's very young vines. I was 8 years old at the time, but its longevity that it's shown, it's cresting as we speak, but that power from that warm vintage and young vines was really beautiful to see the life of that wine crest in the last couple years. Some cool vintages that I really love out of Oregon, which were adverse and challenging and not so exciting out of release, but so beautiful to see the development that they show with time in bottle. 2010, 2011 to an extent, 2007. The emotions that come out when you talk to wine growers from these vintages are strong, and even stronger when you give them 10, 15 years to try them in a positive way.
Nice. And our last question, if someone's just getting into Beaux Frères and you had to give them sort of the roadmap for the next couple of years, what you guys are working on and what you're excited about, what would you say that is?
Some very large investments in the facility that we translate our grapes into. The pig barn is going to be The pig barn that was renovated by my father throughout the years on a shoestring budget is going to be more of the front of the house, and directly detached behind the pig barn will be a new fermentation hall that will be state of the art. It'll allow us to focus on sort of the same degree of intimacy that we grow our grapes. In the vinification side, it'll allow us that intimacy of just focusing on knowing each small vat, and not focusing on logistics of a more, hodgepodge winery facility. We have an estate Chardonnay program that we'll be launching soon from our vineyard that I developed, that are still young vines, but very exciting on that front. We're in our biggest sort of product mix inflection point is that we're honing in on our estate. We're putting our flag on our little corner of the Ribbon Ridge AVA, and decreasing the amount of sort of non-owned vineyards to probably very little or no non-estate vineyards we'll be working with in the coming 5 or so years. So big focusing mission initiative. So
Awesome. All right. Well, that was 5 questions with Mikey Etzel. Thanks so much for joining.
thank you very much, Billy and Brady. Cheers.